Hello. Sorry, there was no opening audio. That's all right, though.
Are we live?
We are live.
We're live. Cool. I know it's a bit late, and I'm sure most people who actually watch this will watch this tomorrow. Let me get my mic set up.
They're all crying in bed right now.
Ooh. Tonight will be the finale of our... No, I think we're actually going to do another slight Game of Thrones one next week.
Expanded universe?
Well, there's going to be another episode, not necessarily episode, but a very in-depth, like, making and explanation of Game of Thrones.
Okay.
So let's wrap up Game of Thrones talk next week. This week, we are doing two things. We are going to mainly talk about the Game of Thrones finale and a little bit of John Wick 3. Let's do the John Wick 3 stuff first.
All right.
Just so if you haven't... Well, you haven't seen John Wick.
No, actually, no.
Ooh.
I need to marathon that, actually.
You haven't seen him?
No. I've been meaning to, and I saw jokes about all of it, so I know about it, but this...
I just got someone into them this past week.
Okay.
I knew it was coming out Thursday night, and we're Friday. I saw it Friday, and rewatching them, they are fantastic.
I fully believe it.
I don't think we actually deserve how good these movies are. They are insane. And Keanu Reeves, I like him better as John Wick than I do Neo. And I know Matrix is very holy territory to some people.
I like it a lot.
See, it's weird. Whenever I point to him on the podcast, I'm pointing towards the door, but he's actually right over there.
Stop breaking the fourth wall.
Anyways, no, I love John Wick, the series. It is insane. The first one, I think, was had no business being as good as it was.
Right.
The plot of it was, from the trailers at least, hey, these guys killed my dog, I'm going to kill them.
Yeah.
And the plot wasn't that much more crazy than that, actually. The dog was given to him by his dead wife, who died of natural causes. And then there was a little bit of myth and lore. But really, the movie was just kind of him getting revenge. And it was just really cool and really well done.
And him getting revenge as the person that's able to get revenge, too. He wasn't just some guy.
Yeah, he was in this underground crime world that they kind of built some mythology about. And he was the best of the best. He got out, but now he's back in because Theon Greyjoy killed his dog. And then number 2 expands on the mythology a little bit more. And 3 kind of wraps it up without wrapping it up too tightly because there could be a 4th. Spoiler alert.
Oh.
I guess we'll actually dig into the spoilers of John Wick next week because I don't want to spoil it for you. But
Wick Patrol?
But basically, go see John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum. Without spoilers, I would say this is... I'm not sure if it can be better than the first. It might be, though. It's very close to the first. The only thing that I would say is a little bit of a negative for me in this one is the ending fight scenes took a little too long.
Okay.
And I love fight scenes. But I guess he's fighting with swords for a while.
Oh.
And which is very cool. But it seems like it's about 5 minutes too long of the same thing.
All right.
And the rest of the movie is very insanely good. But maybe the last 5 minutes of fights before the final guy, it was just maybe a little repetitive. Other than that, the movie's near perfect. And ties very much into the other movies and further expands on this mythology of this underworld assassin cult thingy.
All right.
Which is pretty cool, I think. Either way, let's just jump into Game of Thrones. If you have not seen the last episode of Game of Thrones, stop watching. Unless you don't care.
Should we also pump up Detective Pikachu?
Yeah, okay, also Detective Pikachu.
Scott says he had to choose between John Wick and Detective Pikachu.
Ooh.
I saw Detective Pikachu for sure. I need to see the John Wicks, all of them, so that's where...
Detective Pikachu, in my mind, was as good of a live-action Pokemon film we could ask for.
Yeah, that's how I felt about it, too. It's there might have been some holes, but it was... You can gloss over them really easily, too.
If you weren't a Pokemon fan...
Oh.
I would say this movie would probably be really stupid.
Yeah.
You'd be like, what the hell? But if you are a fan of Pokemon, even just growing up with it,
Yeah.
you're going to get some enjoyment out of this.
Oh yeah.
If you like Ryan Reynolds at all, you're going to get a decent amount of enjoyment out of this. I think the whole plot at the end, I don't want to spoil it really, but the bad guy's plan, what he wanted to do with,
Yeah.
was a big plot device to kind of set something up earlier, giving an explanation of why Pikachu can talk to this dude. His whole plan was pretty stupid, but in a weird way, it kind of made sense for what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
I don't know. I enjoyed it, and you have to kind of shut your brain off, but it was pretty cool. The CGI looked as good as fucking turtle monsters can look. I didn't like... I really liked the main guy. The villain looked like Milo Yiannopoulos.
Yeah. I felt the exact same thing. I was seeing that in theaters.
English accent, sunglasses, bleach blonde
Yeah,
hair.
he had like damn near the same, like, at least in the first. If you look at him through the rest of the movie, he didn't necessarily look like it. But whenever he put those glasses on in like the middle part, yeah, I was like, that is Milo.
Yeah, I am not the only one who noticed that. I saw people posting about that. Was that intentional? Maybe, I don't know. I mean,
And the villain is a gay Jew.
Nah, either way, if you like Pokemon at all, I would go see it. If you don't like Pokemon at all, probably pass over it. But I mean, there's some decent jokes by Ryan Reynolds that if you even understand what Pokemon is, you might like Pokemon Go Detective Pikachu. Maybe.
It didn't take itself too seriously. That's the good part about it too.
Yeah, it's pretty stupid.
They were willing to like make jokes kind of about Pokemon a little bit too.
Right.
So it was good overall. I liked it.
Boom. All right, now let's jump into Game of Thrones, unless there's anything else.
No.
Nope. Goodbye. Okay, Game of Thrones. Season finale, if you haven't seen it, stop watching, or if you don't care, keep watching.
Spoilers.
I think the final was pretty enjoyable. I don't think it was great. I don't think it was bad. I would give it maybe a 7 out of 10.
All right.
I think it was as good of a finale as we could get, given the season that we got. Ooh, I should...
Given the season that we got.
GOT, got Game of Thrones?
Oh,
was that intentional? I'll say yes, but it wasn't. Okay, let's break it down. The last episode, a lot of characters made some choices that I don't think it was in their character to make.
all right.
And then, so, what do you do in this episode? They kind of committed to it, but then I think everyone made some smart choices. Jon is still pretty freaked out. He's still loyal to his queen. But then Tyrion's like, yo, Varys was right. She is crazy. Now I think there needed to be an entire season of her going crazy, not just her going crazy last episode.
Not just one outlash to like. I mean, don't get me wrong. It was a bad one. I've only seen like the main points. I don't watch the whole thing. But point is, it was just like one major turn of events, not necessarily. Like
Right.
you said, a season's worth of turn of events to be like, well, you're evil now.
There needed to be... They could have done this really well, and I think they're doing it in the books. And this is coming from a guy who hasn't read the books, but I know about the books.
Who
a lot.
reads?
Gross.
Ugh.
They needed to put more emphasis on like people telling her this is her destiny to rule the Seven Kingdoms. This is a prophecy that you were meant to fulfill. So she's almost being brainwashed that she has to do this. That's kind of how it is in the books. She feels that it is her destiny to do this. And then if you actually feel that it's your destiny to do something, then you can be justified in burning a few thousand people if it means that you'll save 1 million.
The means to an end is, yeah.
Maybe.
You're getting to the end
kind
regardless.
of do that. And then make her go that extra step crazy where she's burning children in last episode. And then this episode have her try to justify it, which she did. But they just kind of seem like this whole, I was born to rule the Seven Kingdoms and I will. They could have drove that home more with like prophecy. Because the show kind of spits on prophecy. There's a lot of prophecies. And then at the end of it, it's all like, don't believe them. Keep going with that.
Yeah.
But Daenerys was like happy after in this season. She's like, yo, Jon, let's bang. And then he's like, you're my queen.
Yo.
Now and always. And they kiss. And then his hand is like this. And then whoosh, stabs her. Also, if you look how she dies, the knife is going like this.
Yeah.
But he couldn't have stabbed her like that. It would have gone up.
Because he's against her.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Either way, I don't care about that. So Jon, everyone knew Jon was going to kill Daenerys. Let's face it. which also I think explains kind of why Jon didn't kill the Night King.
Okay.
There was 3 villains this season. The Night King, Cersei Lannister, and then Daenerys, the final 2 episodes.
And don't forget about the lack of a season 9.
Boom. That's the real villain. Who knows? But I think that they didn't want to give Jon the kill against the Night King. And then also Daenerys.
You didn't want his KD ratio up?
You got to keep that balanced, yo.
I can't breathe.
Ew. So, I think Jon was right. Let's finish up talking about Jon. I think it was actually kind of smart how they said you can't be king because the Unsullied are still pissed. I understand the Unsullied being pissed. I don't think Grey Worm in the last episode would have just started killing people. He probably shouldn't have, but he was still loyal to his queen. I get that. So I get that he's not just going to be the next king, at least in the show, how they set it up. And they send him back to the Wall. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense because they say, hey, you're going to go to the Night's Watch. The Night's Watch doesn't exist anymore. There's no reason for them to exist because the reason they existed was to guard the 7 kingdoms against the wildlings and against the White Walkers. We are now at peace with the wildlings, so who cares? Let them in. They've already been in. They've actually helped defend the 7 kingdoms, so we're not at war with them. They wanted to leave of their own free will. They're not invading anymore. There's a hole in the wall, and they've already let in, so they're not at war. And the White Walkers are already destroyed.
Yeah.
So there's no reason for the Night's Watch to exist. Tyrion says something along the lines of, there will always need to be a place for bastards and broken people. How about stop demonizing them in this new world that you guys have created? How about...
PC, we're getting PC.
I don't know. How about stop demonizing these people? And like just sending them to the edge of the world. I think they were trying to have a nice little send-off. Kind of like in Endgame where they send Captain America back in time.
Yeah.
And now he's old, and if you just don't think about it, it's nice. But the more you think about this, it's kind of stupid.
Yeah.
And then the wildlings already left. Why were they back at Castle Black, and then Jon's leading them north? If he's going to join the Night's Watch, he's going north then? I don't know. That was very ambiguous. I think they just wanted to give him a nice send-off without explaining it. Didn't make a whole lot of sense. But I'm very glad that he met up back with his direwolf ghost again.
Hold on. To protect the new realm of men, Jon says. What else did I miss here? Hold on. If I could have written it, I would have had Dany's dragon attack Jon. Jon kills the dragon, but it's mortally wounded. Arya finds Jon dying, kills him to put him out of his misery. She takes Jon's face, then kills Dany. That's what I would have done. So
That could have been cool.
So a whole triangle of a. No, you.
Yeah, that could have been kind of cool. I just don't. I don't think Arya had any business killing the Night King or Cersei or Daenerys because she really didn't have any connection with them.
Yeah.
Maybe Cersei, but I think Arya's thing is all about revenge and taking the names off her list. I think, at least in the book, she's going to play a big role into killing the Mountain.
Okay.
I think Sandor's story, the Hound, is done.
All right.
If you know about the books, he's now the Gravedigger. I think his story is actually done. He doesn't want revenge in the books. He's just at peace.
Yeah.
And I think Arya will actually be the one who kind of kills the Mountain in the books. I don't think there's going to be some Clegane Bowl. But I think that's kind of where her story is headed in the books. There is no Night King in the books, so forget that. I think Jon will make peace with her, with the White Walkers, and then he'll have some business with Daenerys. It'll be Jon versus Daenerys in the end of the books, at least. But yeah, but that would be a visually cool idea, I think. Yeah, that would be kind of
That
cool.
might add a lot more closure to things too.
Right.
Instead of it was lacked excitement. I agreed from the little bits that I saw because I didn't watch the whole thing because I don't watch Game of Thrones. That it definitely seemed like they were just setting up the next season or something. It didn't really feel like there was closure elements in place. Maybe I just am being picky about it, but
Right. Okay, let's talk about who they chose as next king. Or, let's break it down character by character.
already got Jon.
We got Jon. Tyrion, I think it was cool how he basically said, like, I'm not going to be hand queen anymore. Threw down the thing. She locks him up, rightfully so. I think Tyrion acted very in character. And then he kind of says, like, I've been really stupid the last couple seasons. He has. I think Tyrion, first of all, wouldn't have been stupid in the last couple seasons, but whatever. In the show, he has.
Yeah.
And then he gets appointed to be Hand of the King, which I think is appropriate. I think he deserves to be Hand of the King. I think his character is actually really smart,
Right.
even though the writers don't really write him smart. Writers don't really write anyone smart. Everyone's kind of dumb. But I liked him. He was really cool. What he did at the Small Council, I think the Small Council scene was really funny with Braun as the new Master of Coin, and Samuel Tarly as the new High Grand Maester, and everyone else. That was pretty cool.
That one did seem like that one I did feel like added a little bit of, I guess, a closure scene, because even though it's a setup for more things to happen, at least that one was kind of like, well, I guess we got to rebuild now instead of a mystery.
Yeah, and it was still fun, and it was still very like democratic.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
everyone was kind of working together.
They were agreeing and disagreeing and trying to work out.
But that's how it should be.
Trying to rebuild brothels.
Right, that's
Priorities.
Ayo. Yeah, that's I think how it should be. I like the idea that they are now going to have a vote to kind of who's king. When Sam said everyone should kind of get to vote, if they were to have done that, I think that'd be a little cheesy. That'd be like too real world. Westeros obviously is in the real world, so the lords and ladies aren't going to give up their power, but they're giving up a little bit of power to say, hey, let's all vote.
I kind of took that whole I don't know what you'd call it, jury meeting, whatever. I kind of took that as like they were almost making like stabs at themselves. The meta seat, they were being really meta.
Yeah,
because the way that he was talking about stories are the greatest power kind of thing, and I was like, oh, Game of Thrones is a story, and then from there they were kind of talking. I kind of took it as a contrast of, see, this is why it's good that we still in our current modern world don't have appointed kings via birth or something or whatever. It's better that we all agree on one person, and then the Game of Thrones world evolved into what our world might be or something.
Yeah.
That's why it's better for that reason. Whether it's perfect or not is different. But
I think if they would have went to just a straight vote by all the commoners and peasants, that would be a little too unrealistic.
at least they hinted at it.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, what was I just going to say? Oh, also a little thing I have a problem with. Tyrion finding Jaime and Cersei's dead bodies. First of all, if rubble is falling on you and it's enough to kill you,
Yeah.
your body would be pretty messed up. Your head. Because it would have to be like a head wound that would kill you. There wasn't that much rubble on top of them.
Unless you were there for like days or something and couldn't escape, and you like died of like famine. But I'm talking, yeah.
Maybe.
That's if.
But he found them and their bodies were like intact and like holding each other. I'm like, no, a bunch of your ceiling fell on you and it was all like hard rock. Your heads would be smashed in.
Yeah.
And they weren't like protecting their heads. They were just like, I'm holding you. Boom, 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 boom. So it wasn't days but later. It was like the next day.
Yeah.
So I think they wanted to show that it was for sure Jaime and Cersei in there, but their heads would have been fucking destroyed. Whatever. Who cares? That minor nitpick. Bran becoming the next king, I don't think that really makes a whole lot of sense. I think Bran is like, he was basically useless this entire plot. The entire show, he's been garbage. He wasn't even in an entire season. They just skipped him in season 4, I think. But they had to do something with him, and there's no one else who could be king, at least how the show set it up. I think Jon will probably be king in the books. So I guess that was the best choice they could have made. But at least have him do something kind of good. He really didn't do anything kind of good. He just kind of was still zoned out. Like, oh, maybe I'll go find this dragon. I'm leaving now. I was in this whole meeting for 1 minute. Stupid. Either way, I mean...
Maybe I could use my sorcerer powers to find this.
Who knows?
That's...
What the hell? Okay, Brienne of Tarth is now Lord Commander of the Kingsguard. I'm very cool with that. I think that's very smart. Podrick's also Kingsguard. The ladies are probably very sad about that. Podrick's the one who supposedly has he's like the best love maker. I don't know. He went to like a whorehouse and like the whores refused to accept the money because he was so good.
Alpha bro.
Right? But now he's a Kingsguard, so he can't do any of that. Who knows? But I guess he kind of wanted that, so whatever. And Brienne, I think it was really cool how she wrote Jaime's book, because Jaime's pages in the White Book of Kingsguard was a pretty big deal for him. Too bad he died before he saw that she wrote all his good deeds in there.
Yeah.
But they were written down for all time, so I guess he would be happy if he was still alive. So I guess that was kind of sweet. Still mad about whole Jamie's arc. It was ruined. But whatever. That was the last episode. We're talking about this episode. Who else?
All I know is Nikolai made me a White Russian, and I'm scared because I think it's just a White Russian flavored vodka drink. I didn't try it yet, though. Did you try yours? Was it?
I'll
take that as a yes.
I'm about halfway done. It's kind of strong, but whatever.
White Russian flavored vodka drink.
They brought back Edmure Tully for this episode, who was the guy who stood up, who was like kind of like when they're saying, "Hey, who should be king?" He's the first one to stand up.
Yeah.
He was basically in the War of the Five Kings. If you don't remember, he was the guy who was like burning his father. He missed like 3 times with the fire arrows to light the corpse on fire, and then his uncle grabs it and actually hits him. This guy has been kind of a failure, but never made as an actual like joke. He was just like a not very good soldier,
right.
But he wasn't like a joke. They kind of made him a little bit of a joke in this episode. But
that's what I gathered from it, from not knowing him otherwise.
I'm glad they brought him back because it was very ambiguous. Last we heard, he was in a cell in like season 5. Arya then came to liberate the castle he was lord of.
Castle Anthrax?
Something. It'll come to me as soon as we close the podcast. River Run. I remember. But like last we heard, he was in a cell, and then Arya killed the new rulers of River Run. We never heard if he got freed or not. I don't know. I'm glad they brought him back. I'm glad that he is alive. He's a good character, a good person, but I kind of wish they didn't like make him really stupid. Who knows? Brienne. I already talked about Brienne of Tarth.
Running out of characters, they're all dead.
Yeah, pretty much.
Spoiler alert.
Who else? We talked. Sansa. Let's talk about Arya first. Arya really didn't do anything this episode or last episode. She just kind of ran around.
River Run, is that a related thing?
River Run is. Oh, I think they were naming the castle that I named.
Oh, okay, castle. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, John.
But I got it before I saw. I didn't cheat. Arya really didn't do much. I think she did enough killing the Night King. Her sailing west of Westeros, I think, is a really cool idea. She did say about that, I think, a few seasons ago. And there was a couple people who did try to discover what's west of Westeros.
Rest of Westeros?
I did mess that up.
It happens.
Oh, man, this one drink is really getting to me. But I think that's cool of her. She wasn't meant to be like a lady and settle down. She was meant to kind of go be an adventurer.
I'm going to have a family now.
Yeah. So I think that was really cool how they ended her. Sansa, I think they kind of butchered her character last season and this season. The show keeps telling us how smart and how good of a ruler she is, but we don't really see her doing anything good. I don't think the show knew how to write her.
I feel like you see her just being cold.
Yeah.
Maybe calculated, I guess, but just like the cold aspect of it more so. You just see her not like responding to anything.
They basically say her
From
the show her saying like really obvious things, like, "Hey, everyone should bring their food to Winterfell." Okay, yes, and then like she's walking around telling people that they should put the leather on the inside of armor. Like these guys making armor for a living don't know that, but she somehow knows that. Like it just, and then they say like she's the smartest person that I know. I think that maybe her character is that smart, but the show had a really hard time portraying that. I don't think they portrayed it that well. And now she's Queen of the North. I think that's kind of questionable how she just kind of declares she's no longer part of the Seven Kingdoms. I think they could have said something a little bit more of like, hey, we get an exemption because we defended the North and therefore defended the entire Seven Kingdoms from the ice zombies, the White Walkers. Therefore, we've earned this privilege. Because otherwise, if she said, hey, we're our own separate kingdom, everyone else would do the same thing.
Yeah.
Everyone else wants their independence, but they're kind of bound by, hey, we're going to get destroyed if we don't submit. That's kind of the deal that Aegon the Conqueror made. So if she would have said something along the lines of, we lost so many people, the North is responsible for saving everyone, we've earned our independence, maybe drive that home a little bit more, I would like that.
Then, no, we're not going to do this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be part of this.
Right. No, so I think I like the character of Sansa, but I think the show did a below average job of executing or portraying her of how good she should have been. Anyway, I like the actress. I think she did a good job. Who else?
You mean Dark Phoenix?
Garbage. What else? Who else? Who else is there?
I don't know.
That's kind of it. Grey Worm was then sailing to the Isle of Narth, which is where his kind of girlfriend lived.
Is John the Queenslayer now instead of Jamie being the Kingslayer?
Sure, you could call him that.
Do you think they'll play on it? I guess I don't know. Do you think in the expanded universe that that Daenerys could be resurrected? Do you know if they're aiming? Do you think they're aiming for that possibility? That's why the dragon might have brought the body away. I can't remember the dragon's name.
I think some fan fiction will say that she's resurrected.
Okay,
I don't think she will be though.
that's the optimism.
I think they purposely left it a little ambiguous so people could speculate.
I was really trying to think.
Don't make fun of me. I think people they left it vague.
Yeah.
To one, so they wouldn't have to come up with clean-cut answers for people to complain about, but then also to leave it available for interpretation. Like some fan-made thing will be like, oh, well, Daenerys gets resurrected, and she's the new Lady Stoneheart. She's going to come riding back on an army of dragons and kill everybody. Sure, whatever.
What about Greyjoy?
Oh, Yara Greyjoy?
That, yeah, the chick, right?
Yeah. She was against Jon Snow. I kind of understand that. She's a little more ends justify the means person. I understand. I think that was in character of her to be like, yo, Daenerys killed Cersei. Tyrant killed a tyrant. Or Daenerys killed a tyrant. And then Jon killed our queen. I'm pissed. She wasn't there on the ground seeing Daenerys kill a whole bunch of children. So I think from her perspective, her character made a lot of sense.
She saw the bigger picture only.
Yes, she wasn't there on the ground.
She saw the end results only.
Agreed.
What about where do you think the dragon brought Daenerys? Where do you think the dragon was going to take her? Is there like a home base the dragons had apart from where they were? Wow, where were they even born? Because I don't really.
The dragons were technically born in the Great Grass Sea, I believe.
Is that something they would call a nest to like go back home to?
No. Are you asking a question someone typed, or are you just asking?
John is asking, where do you think the dragon
brought
her?
I'm going to guess probably Valyria. But I think they once again left
Asgard?
No. I think they purposely left that really vague.
All right.
I think Samwell said it was last seen going east, and then Bronn just kind of interrupted saying, like, further away the better.
Yeah.
That's... East is Essos and probably Valyria. Valyria was kind of where the dragons were originally from.
Okay.
So I'm guessing there, maybe take Daenerys there.
That would make sense to me then. You're hearing that tidbit at least.
And the Targaryens are known as the blood of the old Valyria. Maybe bury her there. Can't really burn her, but maybe you could burn her corpse. Maybe her spirit is left and the magic is gone.
Or yeah, I was going to say, now that she's devoid of life, spells might be gone, yeah.
Maybe, who knows. But yeah, I assume that she went to Valyria, but I don't think we'll ever get an answer.
All right.
Maybe next week when they kind of explain everything. But who else? Anyone? Is there anyone? They brought back Jan Royce for a little bit. I always liked his character. He was the Lord of the Vale, and he came back with Robin, who's like the actual Lord of the Vale, but Jan Royce is the acting like battle commander.
Do you think there was possibly more dragon eggs?
No.
Hiding somewhere?
No.
And John says, I think it shows that she's changed. Their family used to take what's theirs. Their old values would have favored Snow.
Maybe.
Laura. He means.
Yara.
He says.
I think.
Laura.
I think it's Yara. Yara.
Lara Croft.
Ooh. We were actually just talking about that.
Yeah. That's I lost a bet. A very small.
I think her new ways was that she was committed to someone higher. She did commit to Daenerys, and she kind of stood by Daenerys and was still kind of pissed that Jon did kill her.
Yeah.
Maybe her old ways would be like, hey,
God dang it,
whoever kills anyone is the new ruler. So maybe that was the old way, but I think it was in character for her to be anti-Cersei.
Yeah.
And to stand with Daenerys because she didn't really see what was on the ground. So, yeah, that. I think that's kind of everybody. I think we kind of covered most of the plot. I want to break down the entire series and what I kind of think of it next week, and we'll actually kind of break down more of the John Wick stuff, and then we'll actually kind of get back to, I believe, current events, like our regular Thought Patrol next week.
I feel like a lot of current events have actually slowed down, but
because they slowed down because of us.
Maybe I haven't paid attention to anything. Ooh. Maybe I'm the one that's out of the loop.
Yeah, probably. Anyway, so thank you for tuning in. How long was this episode?
Right now, we have been live on Facebook for 31 minutes and 59 seconds. 32 minutes.
Oh, too long. Let's get out of here. Thank you very much for tuning in. We appreciate all your views, and I am probably going to drink this White Russian. I'm going to finish this thing off.
I do have to add, it is very strong. However, it does taste good, but there's definitely afterburn in the taste too. So it's a weird combination I didn't expect. It's better than I expected, but damn.
I'm probably going to drink this, and I kind of feel like going to sleep because this guy, I was going to say a bad word. This guy is tired. And we don't say bad words on this show. Anyway, thank you very much, and we will see you again next week. God bless, and goodbye.
And silent title. Trying to even though it's mostly just